Hi everyone, my name's Aneta. I'm an artist and illustrator. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know if anyone noticed, probably not, but even though I try to post every other week, this time it took me over a month to upload a new video, which in YouTube time feels like decades. I spent the entire month of September making art. I worked on 2 pieces that I can't show yet because they were made for art contests. I really wanted to focus on them, and honestly it was also a test for myself to see if I could bring a project to the end without sending it off at the very last minute, unhappy with how it looked. It's not easy to finish something you don't completely feel, but I wanted to prove to myself I could. So all my energy went there. Anyway, as always, I'll be talking about art, the struggles, the doubts, and all those little challenges you never think about until you're actually facing them. So if you're not into process videos, don't worry, this one's a bit more podcasty. I've been thinking a lot lately, especially with the year slowly coming to an end. Yeah, I know. Creatively, I think this was a really good year for me, even if nothing really changed financially. At one point, I made a big decision. I left my daily admin job after 3 years. I've never talked about it before, but my mental health had to come first. The atmosphere there was really toxic and went completely against my ethics. I mean, not the atmosphere, but there were some awkward events. After a while, I just felt numb. I didn't care anymore, and that was my sign to go. Sometimes life basically shouts at you to let go, and that's what happened. Now I'm okay. I can sustain myself for a while, but it brought a new kind of pressure and a lot of chaos too. I feel like I had to finally build a proper portfolio, but so many of my older pieces don't represent me anymore, so I had to start almost from scratch. It's exciting but also scary because, let's be honest, art today isn't really about skill anymore, and Instagram keeps reminding me of that. I try not to compare myself too much, but it's hard not to notice how random things go viral while more thoughtful art gets buried. For a while, it really made me question everything, like, why am I even trying so hard? What's the point of improving if luck is the biggest factor now? But I'm learning to separate my value from how the internet reacts to my work. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. There are days when I feel like a failure. It was never supposed to be easy, I know that, but sometimes it feels like everyone else is moving forward except me. Some people say that those moments of stagnation when nothing seems to happen are actually necessary. And I like to believe that, though I'm not sure if it's really true. Some people never succeed in anything, and their only success is simply accepting the survival of life, selling their soul to the system and just mindlessly carrying on. But whenever I think about it, I also wonder if I've heard their full story. Maybe they're just bitter about their own failures and want to drag others down with them. So I keep asking myself, is it because they never really tried or because they gave up? And what about stubbornness? Does it actually lead you where you want to go? How much of it do you really need? How much work does it take? Now, I've described all those thoughts, but thankfully I made peace with them. Well, at least about 80%. When those thoughts show up, I remind myself I've been there before. I can distract myself or just push through and do the work anyway, because there's no point going down that rabbit hole again. And when it gets too loud, I just switch off social media, because deep down I know why I'm doing this. And I know I'll never stop. I still hold on to that little big dream to live off my art one day and create something that really connects with people. I know I need to get better at promoting myself, and that's going to be a rough path. But for now, my main focus is building a strong body of work, something that feels truly like me. This year was really about art. It started slowly, but at some point I dropped all the limits I used to put on myself, like I won't paint this or that because others already did it. I used to think that if I wasn't original, it wasn't worth doing. But then I realized, and these aren't my words, but they really stuck with me. If you look at your old school photo, who is the first person you search for? Yourself, of course. And that's exactly how much other people care. So why limit myself? Last year, I also decided that 2025 would be my no-buy year. And that changed a lot for me. It made me realize how much time I used to spend thinking about supplies instead of actually creating. When I stopped buying, I started making. And even though I still had a lot of materials to choose from, I noticed I kept coming back to the same color combinations anyway. I'll talk more about that in another video because it really deserves its own topic, but that shift helped me reconnect with what really matters. And that's kind of where I am now. I don't want to rush it. I'm building my portfolio piece by piece. And for the first time, I actually enjoy the process. I'm not chasing perfection anymore. I just want to create something cohesive, something mine. The technical improvements will come naturally over time. Which brings me to the pieces you see me painting today. I was inspired by this time of the year, but also by an old sketch from 2020 I showed at the beginning of this video. I imagined one of Dracula's wives. I actually wanted to paint all three, but I didn't want them to look like the usual pale, scary vampires. I wanted something a bit unsettling, but still elegant. Something that hints at transformation rather than fear. I was also inspired by fashion, those boho, goth, whimsical looks that are coming back. I love that mix of mystery and softness. It doesn't have to be all black or dramatic. It can be subtle and fun. As for the technique, I've really fallen in love with shimmery watercolors. I start with a base layer using Winsor & Newton black ink and then paint over with watercolors. That gives the piece more coverage because watercolor alone can sometimes look too pale. I also use a bit of Acryla Gouache here and there to fix small mistakes or to make some areas stand out more. So yeah, that's what's been on my mind lately. Let me know what you think in the comments. And here's how the final pieces turned out. Thanks for watching, and I promise you'll see me much sooner next time. Take care.